Welcome to the Maxwell Leadership Executive Podcast, where our goal is to help you increase your reputation as a leader, increase your ability to influence others, and increase your ability to fully engage your team to deliver remarkable results. Hi, I'm Perry Holley, a Maxwell Leadership facilitator and coach.
And I'm Chris Goede, Executive Vice President with Maxwell Leadership. Welcome and thank you for joining. One of the things that we get the privilege of doing is we're in the field. We're coaching and we're training, and a lot of these topics and contents that we talk about here come right out of the field. And so if you're at all interested in some training for your team or some coaching, needing to take the culture to a little bit of a higher engagement level, we would love for you to jump on maxwellleadership.com/podcast. And there you can click on this episode, fill out a form, and our team would be more than happy to follow back up with you. Well, today's topic is titled The Ego Challenge.
Yes.
That's all I got. What is
the Perry Holley story.
Perry Holley story.
No.
Talk to us a little about this, because I think what we're going to talk about today, people are going to be surprised about. That's a little bit different than what this is titled.
Yeah, so last week we were answering listener questions, and one of the answers we gave was about a challenge that comes up when you have an ineffective leader. And these challenges are talked about in the book John Maxwell wrote called The 360-Degree Leader. Yeah. And he writes about 7 challenges that any of us and all of us can face by leading from where we are in the organization. People above us, people below us, people beside us. You're leading in the middle. And I have to tell you, I've been teaching this a lot lately. It's a very popular topic around how do I influence my boss, influence my peers, and influence my direct reports. 360-degree influence. But I got fascinated by one of the challenges, this ego challenge, because there's an assessment we take in the course, and people assess themselves around which of these 7 challenges most resonate with you. And when this one comes up, people go, I don't know what this has got to be wrong. I don't have any, my ego's not involved. And I said,
hold on.
It's not about that. It's not about you having an ego. But then I had to be honest, and you and I have had a little bit of discussion about this, is that I never dealt with this in the past, but I dealt with it more recently in my current role. And I woke up one day, I'm teaching it going, oh my stars, this is me. And started looking at some of the ways to handle this. But I thought we could just talk through what this is and how it applies.
Yeah, I think any individual contributor in an organization or any leader that is leading a team that still finds themselves in the middle of the organization could feel this and does feel it, right? I think all of us, if we were true to ourselves, feels this. The ego challenge will say, hey, you feel like you're hidden in the middle of the organization. It doesn't mean that you have a big ego. And that's what I was saying in the intro. It's a little bit different than what this might be, and that you need to humble yourself. That's not what we're going to talk about today. But this could also be called the invisibility challenge, where you have a little bit of a blow to your ego because you seem invisible inside the organization because you're kind of stuck there in the middle.
Right. Well, it's and that's the big point, is that it's not about you having a big ego. It's about you feeling overlooked or not valued, or I don't matter, or those types of things, or I don't get credit. I'm doing so much here, and this is as I mentioned, it's been real to me. Was when I came in this role that I'm doing now, I'm a motivational speaker, I'm a teacher, I'm an author, I'm a coach, and I had big plans. I'm coming to one of my dream role. I've been contracting with Maxwell Leadership for a while, but I came here and said, man, I'm going to finally be on the big stage. I'm going to do all these things I've dreamed about and worked for to be here to do that. And because of what I do, I started writing, and that's kind of a behind the scenes kind of a thing. And then coaching, it's a very behind the scenes kind of a thing. Nobody is a part of that. And then the stages became smaller, but more intimate with smaller crowds and really making a bigger impact. But I didn't see that. I just saw nobody knows what I'm doing here. And I know you and I talked about it, because I came to you and said, this is not acceptable. I mean, I was like, I don't think I threw my fist on the table, but
you were frustrated.
I was frustrated.
Yeah.
And I was kind of fighting it, and then being vocal about it, which is kind of, if you're a leader, if you see people that are being vocal and having emotion about things, about their job, maybe this is something you want to think about. Yeah. But you were in the room, actually, when I shared this the first time I was teaching this. Chris happened to be at the client location, and I was sharing my story about, I finally woke up one day and said, I've been teaching this, but it's me. I have the ego challenge. And then, so that's really what I want to talk about was, what do you do what does John coach us to do when and just like you said, all of us can fall prey to this, is
100%.
that we're all doing good work, but is it really what we thought it would be? Are we really getting the recognition for it, or are we getting the fulfillment, which by the way is another of the 7 challenge, the fulfillment challenge. But am I being fulfilled by my work? Am I feeling good about myself out of my work, or am I letting other things get in the way of that?
Yeah, and I love your vulnerability there in the room with the team, but also here, so that others can learn from it. You know, John and many people talk about the picture, the word picture of the iceberg, and many leaders, and what you see is just the top 10% of it, and then really what's going on and all the things that they deal with are really kind of hidden under the water. They're the things that are not very exciting, they're not very glamorous, and it's just a fraction of their lives. And so we at times probably see something or a part that looks like we want to be a part of, or we should be doing that, but we really don't truly know what all goes into that. And yet that just continues to fuel the ego challenge, or feeling like you're invisible to those that you're working with. And so we want to give you a couple things that you can kind of work through if you feel that way. And I would challenge you, I think that we all have felt that way, no matter what level you're at. So the first one is concentrate more on your duties, your responsibilities. I love this, than your dreams. Right? Like be in the moment, live and influence people in the moment, and understand that, you know, a lot of people, when they begin focusing on the dreams, and I see this a lot in my children, and it's like, well, I'm going to do that. And I think I should do that, or I think I should be able to have the opportunity to do that. I'm like, you will, if you stay really current in the moment and keep plugging in, you know, day to day, then you may get to that dream, but it's going to be a little bit of a process. And so I want to make sure that people are paying more attention to producing where they're at and what their responsibility is, and doing that well, than just being promoted. And, you know, you and I have talked about this with different generations. We have an incredible course and training and coaching around leading multi-generational teams. And that's one of the things we see in a certain generation comes up. It's like, I've been here 30 days, I should be running the place, you know? And so you got to kind of work that. But I think if you begin to understand, hey, where you're at, where your feet are, produce like crazy, then the promotions will come. Don't focus on the promotions first.
And don't give up on your dreams. Keep your dream out there.
Yeah.
But what are the steps to get there? And are you working in that direction? What I found was I wake up and go, well, I'm not where I think I should be, but am I making progress toward where I think I should be? Or am I perhaps doing something else that is adding value? The number 2 was that John would teach after concentrate more on your duties and your dreams. Number 2 was appreciate the value of your position and what you bring to the position. Is that when I was giving you a hard time about where am I going here? Why am I not on? Your response was kind of look at what you're doing. I took 72 flights last year. I'm on a ton of stages. I am in front of a lot of people. I have a bunch of coaching. And I said, what's the value of that? Oh, am I actually doing what it is I set out to do? Yes. Am I doing it the way that I had dreamed and envisioned it doing? Sometimes, but not so much. And I thought, why am I letting that unravel my attitude and my approach, and saying, I need to just appreciate the value of what I do here, and that I am making a difference. I am adding value, and that I am working in a form of my dream. And it may not be exactly what I thought, but it is bigger than I thought. So it really, when you're in the middle like that, not really feeling your value.
Yeah. And I would tell you, even on top of that, we talked a little bit about what this podcast has turned into, which was something that you guys have heard the story of, Perry saved me from, but the millions of downloads and the people. And so it looks completely different than any of us think. And so we've just been able to have those conversations. But it is something that every leader kind of works with.
Hey, podcast listeners. Many of you listening right now would probably love the autonomy that comes with owning your own business or becoming a coach that helps other businesses succeed. Well, we have a phenomenal strategy where you are 100% in control of your own business, earning income on your own terms, and have access to the people, tools, and resources you need to build a thriving leadership development business. When you become a Maxwell Leadership certified team member, You join a global community of entrepreneurs led by our expert team of mentors and faculty, including John C. Maxwell. You'll also get one of the top leadership certifications in the world next to your name, giving you the boost you need to get started. Visit us online at maxwellleadership.com/join the team to find out more.
Yeah, the other one is find satisfaction in knowing the real reason for the success of a project. It may not be your name announced or talked about in an email or at a company meeting, but man, when you know the impact of what you did had on the outcome of that certain project, then allow that to satisfy you. Allow that to be your motivation. I'm a big proponent of being driven internally than externally. And I know there's some of that. We all have appreciation languages, and we need to be aware of that. But man, if your main driver is due to external things, then you might not be in the right field or the right area or the right calling or the right focus. Because I think, man, when there's something that I'm called or passionate about, and maybe it's just my wiring, my internal drive of understanding and knowing the certain project happened because of what I was able to contribute, that gives me great satisfaction and motivation.
Well, I noticed when we came out of that stage and you had heard me tell this story, you said, man, I've noticed, now that you mentioned, you've been a lot calmer, a lot more focused on what you're doing. I go, yeah, it's changed my whole outlook.
Yeah.
And we were in Orlando with John a few weeks ago, and I used to go to events like that, and I almost felt like I was elbowing my way in to be in the presence of John and Mark and everybody, and which is we're invited to be in their presence.
Yeah.
But I felt like I know what I wanted, and somebody said, you seem like you're just you're kind of standing back. I go, I don't need anything. I know what I do. I know the value I bring.
Yeah.
And if I can serve, I'm not here. I don't need anything. I'm just here to serve and be a part of it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just felt this real peace come over me. A fourth way that John teaches is also to embrace the compliments of others who are also in the middle of the pack. I am awful at this. I know we've got some, I think of Susan, our team. She's such an encourager to me, and she'll say, "Man, I just really appreciate what you did. When you had that audience, you were so." And I go, "Oh, shut up." I don't
blow it off.
because I'm what am I not on the right? That's a small stage. There's only 200 people, not 2,000 people. No. They thank you and say, "Wow, yeah, that feels good." That somebody in the middle with me recognized that.
Yeah.
Our whole team has always come alongside of us and given us affirmations like that. And I just used to just blow it off. Now I'm just thankful.
I think it may even be more relevant from our peers.
Hey, that's a great point.
Right?
It
Because
is.
they get it. Like, we've all been in those situations, and maybe it hasn't gone the way that we thought it went, or we lost the room, or we lost whatever. And so I think they get it versus someone that may not even be able to understand what that looks like. Well, number 5 is understand the difference between self-promotion and selfless promotion. Self-promotion says, if you don't toot your own horn, no one will toot it for you. Selfless promotion is, I just want to help the team make beautiful music.
Yeah, it's about how you see yourself and let your actions and your values speak for yourself and speak for you. I'll just add a comment and then get you to close for us.
Yeah.
But what we teach a lot, and it comes up a lot about what kind of mindset do you have, an abundance mindset or a scarcity mindset. And sometimes when you get a little tied up in I'm not getting what I need, it's a scarcity thinking. I need to get more from me versus an abundance mindset that said there's plenty to go around for everyone, and I'm here to help spread that around. And in doing so and being generous and thoughtful of others and my role and appreciating what I do, there'll be plenty for me.
Plenty for
it.
Well, as I wrap up, just know you're listening right now and you go, that's me. That's why Perry created this, because we feel like this applies to so many people. And so I got a couple thoughts for you as we close. Maybe you are saying, hey, I feel like I'm in the right area, the right calling, and I want to continue to get past this ego challenge and get out of the pack and maybe get noticed. One of the things I would encourage you to do is to strategically, and I use that word strategically.
I see what you just did there.
You like that? Offer, and I'm not even the writer at the table.
That was amazing.
Offer to take on projects. And the reason I said strategically is because you need to make sure that they do fit that skill set or that whatever. For example, Perry, because you are gifted at speaking on the big stage, you could be like, hey, anytime a speaker doesn't show up or something happens, just call me. I'm ready. Or, hey, we're looking, whatever it might be. But strategically think about where your skill set is and what your dreams are, where you want to go, and begin to think about maybe putting your name out there. Just offer it periodically to take on projects. The other thing is, right where you're at, remember, good leaders get results. And once you start getting results, you get noticed,
People
right?
notice. That's right.
Like, we'll talk about just this podcast. People are like, Perry and Chris, are contributing to the Maxwell Leadership growth of people and awareness and adding value to people because of this podcast. We've been able, with our team, with Jake and the marketing team, we've been able to impact a lot of people, and that is awesome. And so just understand, you got it where you are, you've got to get results. And then finally, don't allow, if you have the ego challenge and you feel invisible, don't allow that to discourage you from growing. You need to continue to develop yourself and the essential leadership skills that align with how you're wired and what your dreams are.
Fantastic. Great insights. And a reminder, if you'd like to know more about these offerings like the 360 Leader, 5 Levels of Leadership, or the other podcasts in our podcast family, you can do all that at maxwellleadership.com/podcast. You can also leave us a question or a comment. We love hearing from you, and we're very grateful you spend this time with us today. That's all from the Maxwell Leadership Executive Podcast.